Good morning, this is Chief Chris Butler. The victim in this case is Thomas Trent. He's 54 years old. The suspect in this case is Sharron Townsend. He's 12 years old. On Saturday, June 28, 2014, at 7:21 a.m., police officers were dispatched to 7411 103rd Street, a vacant business where the victim was found deceased. The homicide unit conducted their investigation and determined the victim had a single gunshot wound to his head. We collected video evidence from a nearby business, and thanks to our local media, you put that information out to the public, which led us to identify both of those individuals in the video. One of those individuals, Darrell Royal, was incarcerated for an unrelated robbery. Last night, we conducted an interview of Royal, and he implicated the suspect, and the suspect was interviewed. The suspect gave admissions. He identified himself in the video and being present and involved in the murder. He was charged with murder and booked this morning at 2:49 a.m., and I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Russ, Plain Action News, when you say involved with murder, did this kid pull the trigger, or what role did he play exactly?
He admitted to shooting a handgun.
Jacob Long, First Coast News, did he elaborate on why he did that?
No, I cannot tell you a reason. This is, to me, the best way to describe it. It's a horrible, spontaneous event. I can't give you an explanation as to why it happened.
Is part of your investigation surround how a 12-year-old ended up with a gun in the first place?
We look at all that, and I'm glad you mentioned it. We have not recovered a murder weapon at this time, but yes, that's part of the investigation.
During the time you said there was a second individual. What's their status in this?
In relation to this, as I mentioned before, he's actually incarcerated in a pretrial detention facility for an unrelated robbery. At this time, he's not. We don't expect any future charges to be placed on him regarding this incident.
Is that person?
He actually came forward and gave information on it. We do not believe that he was involved in the incident at this time.
Is that person a juvenile?
It is a 16-year-old.
16. You have his name. We have his name.
Yeah, that's the name that I gave you. It's going to be Darrell Royal.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you have any information there on him, but he's incarcerated for an unrelated.
Can we get the incident report for that?
Yeah, we'll get that through the police information officer.
Christy Walski with Action News. Is there any indication that this 12-year-old has any prior criminal history?
That's just, he does have one, and we'll get it through the police information officer to you. I believe he's got a previous arrest for burglary.
Any other questions?
Was the 12-year-old a native of Jacksonville? Did he have family in Jacksonville?
I don't have that answer. I don't know.
I mean, can you just touch on arresting a 12-year-old for murder is something that an officer does not see every day? I mean, it's a sad situation all the way around.
Yeah, it's to me, as I described it before, not trying to bring any shortness or brevity to the situation because it's a horrific event. It's horrific for the victim, who's 54 years old, who has been killed, but also you're talking about a 12-year-old child that's been charged with murder.
You said this was sort of a random event. What transpired? Can you tell us how this?
Yeah, and also you'll see in the information that you have there the way the case unfolded. The incident happened. We actually got notified of it the morning of the 28th. We actually obtained video from a couple businesses nearby, and that information was put out with the pictures and everything. And you'll see the time in your docket there. I think it's around 2:25 in the morning. We have video evidence which puts them at the business, going by there, as well as a nearby shopping center around the back.
And what transpired in the confrontation? What happened there?
That's part of the reason why I don't really have an explanation as to why the event happened. The relationship between the suspect and the victim, they may have seen each other around, but they didn't have a relationship at all. To me, it just seems like somebody that just went by and shot the individual that was there.
The suspect walked by, shot the victim, and kept on going?
I can't really commit to that, Dana, to tell you that's exactly the events unfolded. I've got some information from both Mr. Royal as well as the suspect in this case, as far as how the events unfolded. But at this point, we're actually in the process of identifying some other witnesses, and we're following up on other leads at this time to solidify the investigation.
Was there a robbery involved?
No.
Was the robbery that the other juvenile is now in custody for tied to this night, or was that completely?
That, my understanding at this time, it's a completely unrelated incident.
When you say other witnesses, how many other witnesses, were they present at the time that the shooting took place?
No, at the time of the shooting, it was, of course, it was the victim. It was these two individuals that I mentioned in this. But just during the course of the investigation, there was other things we need to speak to people about. Not actually witnesses to the event.
Any other questions?